Shields up, Iron Breakers, and welcome to another episode of the Kast. Once again, we got FightinCowboy, our resident member of the Kast, who can never get enough. Am I right? How you doing, Cowboy?
Oh, just living life, the life of two young children, which is a fun period. I was up till 3 in the mornings. My child was screaming and pinching and trying to bite, because I would not let him go to bed with Mama while Mama was asleep.
Well,
so
if you think it's bad now, wait until they start throwing tantrums. By the time they get to like 7 or 8, that's when things really get fun.
See, I feel like by that point, you can use logic on them and be like, I'll take away your tablet or your dolly or whatever. Like at 2, it's just like an unchecked ball of fury. He does this thing where he gets upset and he goes like this and he tries to scratch you. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he keeps doing it. And I'm like, stop doing that.
Is that like the really young one or the toddler?
This is the toddler. He's like 2.5.
Yeah.
The newborn's great. She doesn't do anything. Just she's at the cry, poop, sleep stage.
Yeah.
But the toddler is going through like, why am I not number one anymore? And so he tries to scratch people. And I'm like, you're not Puss in Boots. Like, stop. What are you doing?
Oh yeah, like, it's like my kid. The thing about that whole logic thing is that it doesn't work with my kid. So like, I'll take his Switch away. He's like, I don't care. I hate everybody. I hate you. I hate Mom. Look, I'm not kidding. At some point, he actually said, like, I wish you were dead. Like, he's just like the most hateful stuff. And I'm just like, my wife, she gets like completely, she doesn't even know how to handle it. Me, I'm just like, yeah, that's fine. You wish I'm dead. That's all good. Now let's go to your room and let's talk about this. Let's sort it out. Now, like, I have to be super cool because it's really hard.
Dude, I would have locked his ass in a bathroom, barricaded the door, and been like, I wish I was dead. Stay in that bathroom for 5 hours.
Doesn't work. Listen, I've kept him.
How old is this one?
He is 8 now. I've kept him in his room all day. Didn't work. With nothing to do in his room all day, didn't work. He was still arrogant. Like, you have no idea. Like, but then again, I also think that my kid might have some anger management issues that I have to like deal with. I don't know why.
At 8 though, that's so young for anger management.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like,
does he do sports or anything?
Yes, but the thing is, if he's alone, he's like the most well-behaved kid you've seen in your whole life. If he's with his sister, nobody can control him. He's the worst. It's like I don't know. There's something there. I need to figure it out, but it's something that I've been working on, and it is what it is. But so everything is good with your newborn. No health concerns, no problems with him. The wife,
newborn's great. She's good. Can't wait for all the armchair psychologists in the comments that are going to talk to us about raising our kids right now.
Yeah, dude.
Get ready. Here it comes.
Yeah, here it comes. Like
comes.
It's the syndrome of something, and here's what you got to do. You got to give him like a tablespoon of honey every time that he goes to bed, and that will like activate the certain neurons.
It sounds terrible. As your child gets ready to sleep, give them a spoonful of concentrated sugar. Liquid sugar. I'm sure that's gonna work out wonderfully.
That's not gonna be good. But yeah, you know what I actually did? I took him to Disneyland, dude.
Like Disneyland,
Paris,
California?
No, Paris, dude. I'm not going to California. You crazy?
I was like Disney. Yeah.
No, we have one of those in Paris, and I thought I was gonna humble my 8-year-old, and I was like, dude, you're going to friggin' Space Mountain. And I actually spoke with a friend of mine, and like, our Space Mountain is way more aggressive than what you guys have over there. So our Space Mountain is like in the dark, bunch of loops and corkscrews and stuff like that. Like, super fast.
Ours does that too.
I don't know. I've maybe it's from another park. A friend of mine showed me your Space Mountain. I was like, this is way more chill than the one that we were in.
It's been years since I've done Disney, but I remember it's like you take off and there's like a loop, and then you go into like a dome, and it's just like pure darkness as this thing whips you around for like a minute and a half.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, I'm like, I'm gonna humble you straight up. What? My kid gets out of there and he's like, let's go again. And I was like, oh no.
Well, yeah, it's a roller coaster.
No, dude, I was scared
Oh.
of roller coasters when I was young. Dude, I was super scared of them. I never
You
rode
big
roller
wet
coasters.
bitch.
Fine. Be that way.
I was the I remember we went to Cedar Point growing up. It's in Ohio. It's Sandusky, I believe, and it's like one of like the roller coaster parks. Like it's like 13 or 14 roller coasters. But the roller coasters are my jam, man. I love the thrill, the speed, just that when you're like when you're like locked in and it feels like you're rising out of your seat, so you're just floating.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa! I love roller coasters.
Dude, that was the thing. Like, I was able to convince my daughter to go do Big Thunder Mountain. She cried and screamed the whole time. Listen, she's 4 years old. She is tiny. But, like, there are height restrictions. Like, well, she's tall enough. She should be fine. Yeah. My wife was riding with her, and she said, if I wasn't grabbing her, she would have flown off the seat.
I think the ones I used to feel the most uncomfortable with as a kid were the log flumes.
We don't have those. I don't think.
You're basically sitting in the equivalent of like a canoe that's shaped like a log, and you get to a point where it's a drop like probably a solid 45 degree, if not more.
Damn.
And like you have just like a quick like an airline seatbelt on you. So like, I mean, when that thing drops, you're like, and I'm floating in the air. Like, and it never. I mean, I remember as a kid at one point, I like turned around and like grasped onto like my mom or my dad because I was worried I was gonna fly out of the log flume. Those were terrifying as a child. Now I'm just like, now my big ass, I'm like, this thing ain't moving. I ain't coming out of this log flume. No sir, I'm a big boy now. Though I haven't been to a theme park in a while. This last it was last summer, we and some friends went out to Dollywood out here and did Splash Mountain because I love water parks. Water parks get a bad rap. People are like, ugh, feet, germs, and pee. I'm like, I'm here, we're good on water slides, all right? I don't know anything about all that. I just want to do some fucking water slides. And that was a lot of fun. But like theme parks in the middle of the summer, that just, to me, that's like lines, sweatiness.
Yeah.
Like, no.
It's like,
I already tell you, we're going to be one of those families where it's like, oh, we want to do Disney. Okay, it is November. Son, you're taking a week off school. We're going to Disney. Like, we ain't doing this. I ain't about the summer vacation wait in giant lines life. No.
That's the smart thing to do. Because like when we went there, we went on Easter break. And
oh God.
Yeah. So the lines.
It's a zoo. It's packed.
Yeah, it's super packed. But the thing was, I was able to basically, I downloaded the app and I was always looking at the times. So we never had to wait more than like 30 minutes or anything like that. So I was just constantly dragging us from one ride to the next. My wife had never been to a theme park. She was not ready. She's like, when I'm just like, okay, now we got to get to the other end of the park to ride this. And she was like, what do you mean the other end of the park? We got to go. Listen, got to go. We'd get there. We'd get out of that one. I'm like, okay, now the exact opposite end because this one's got a shorter line. I was like running through the whole park. It was wild.
Yeah, my mom has been like, when are you gonna bring the kids to Disney? I'm like, Mom, he's 2.5. Like it wouldn't even be a trip to Disney. It would be him riding 2 rides and then me carrying him on my shoulder for like 6 hours because he hates strollers. Like, I'm not doing this. When he's like 5 or 6 and he can actually like make memories about this, yeah. But 2.5, she's like, well, it's more about the parent. I'm like, well, no, it's not about the parent.
It's not at all.
No, like, when he's old enough, we'll go. I ain't dragging a toddler out to. It just sounds terrible.
I had a bunch of people who were telling me like, oh, your daughter, she's too young because my daughter's like 4 and my son is 8. And I'm like, well, what about my son? Screw him. Like, what the hell is that supposed? Yeah. My daughter's too young. What about my son? My son has to go as well. Like, come on. But I got around to doing that as well. So, good times. But pushing us back into the realm of video games, we've actually been trying to talk pretty much since the last Diablo 4 beta. But we got scheduling.
The server slam's coming up.
Server Slam's coming up at the end of the week. I'm not sure if I'm doing Server Slam because Tears of the Kingdom, but
I am. Zelda's going to be a slow burn for me, and I want that mount in Server Slam.
Oh, there's a mount that you're getting for what? What level you got to reach?
I think it's like level 20 and kill the thing, the big Ashvala.
You have to kill the raid boss to get the mount.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I've been out of the loop. I wasn't aware of that. I mean,
Yeah, it's a new thing for. All the previous things exist, like the wolf pup and all that, but I think it's level 20 and kill the raid boss, and you get a unique mount. I need to like finalize my class choice too, because some of the based on the beta changes, I'm like, oh, Barb's sounding pretty good now, and I don't know. I like Necro a lot, but I feel like I always do Necro, so part of me wants to mix it up.
I think I'm probably going to do Necro.
Necro was like, really strong.
Necro felt really fun. I hear they're nerfing summons a little bit, which to me is fine, so long as you get the end game and summons are still somewhat viable. Because like if you get the end game and all of your summons get one shot by a random AoE, I'm gonna be like, well, what's the point of Necro then? You know? So yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to find the patch notes. Where do they go?
I mean, I would imagine they buff the crap out of the druid, because that would kind of make sense.
All right, I got him. So a couple of general changes, effects and stuns and all that apply to elite monsters twice as long.
Oh, you can see the elite monsters longer. Interesting.
Yeah. Legendary powers all around have been rebuffed. So Barb got flat 10% damage reduction, and then other skill tree passives changed. Whirlwind deals more damage, now consumes more fury. Double swing enhancement refunds its full fury cost if it's used on CC'd enemies, which is kind of cool, because I wasn't sure what the purpose of that was, but if it's like ICC and then bonk, 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 that could be really cool. Druid, the companion skills got a massive buff. They're actually useful.
Yeah, they were pretty much worthless.
Yeah. Ultimates had their cooldowns reduced. Improvements to maul and pulverize, and then using a non-shape-shifting skill will transform the druid back to human form, so you can't cast lightning as a bear anymore. Necro, summon minions die more often, so you have to use your corpses more.
Yeah.
Book of Dead stats increased, corpse explosion decreased, and then the skeleton warriors were...
Corpse explosion felt fine. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was so busted. Rogue had subterfuge bonuses increased, multiple passives increased, imbuement skills had their cooldowns bumped up. And then lastly, Sorcerer, Charge Bolt was buffed, Chain Lightning was nerfed, Incinerate skills enchantment bonus had a lower cooldown. But I like firewalls will spawn underneath enemies more frequently when using its enchantment bonus, because that felt like it never procced, and I love the idea of just hitting something and firewalls popping up.
That's actually what I was playing when I played Sork, was a firewall Sork. I almost killed Butcher with my firewall Sork, but you know, eventually I ran out of resources, and I was just like running around. Can you please stand on my firewalls? Stand on the firewalls, right? Butcher. It'll be fun.
So Sorcerer got some good stuff, and then UI changes and counter changes. I mean, so my thing is, from what I played. Let's talk about Diablo for a bit, because that's coming back up. So first up, Barbarian. What were your Barb thoughts?
My thoughts on Barbarian is that he had no survivability whatsoever when I initially played him. He felt like a complete piece of wet paper. He would just get destroyed by anything. So it took me a long time to be able to do a proper build for him, and the build that I ended up doing was actually around Upheaval. I remember seeing a lot of people talk about how Thorns was amazing, and I was just like, Thorns is cool when you got like a shield and you're blocking with the shield and then you're reflecting damage. That's cool, but the Barbarian was actually taking damage, so you'd need a lot of regen. And I saw some people get that build online, but I found that the Upheaval build was way cooler, because you had all of these things about getting stacks of Upheaval, and then there was a skill that I was using. I don't remember which generator it was, but every time I tapped that generator, I'd get like a ton of... No. It was the modifier for... There was a modifier for the stun ability that you have, the Stomp, which created like a little earthquake in the ground. And every single time the earthquake would hit an enemy, which was constantly like ticking, it would count towards the Upheaval modifier. So that was my thing. I'd put that down, instant max Upheaval, boom, Upheaval, and shred everything. Yeah, I see that my camera's looking terrible on your end. I'm sorry.
I was like, look at this blur. So yeah, Barb, the private beta test did not like Barb. They buffed him for the second one, played him again, liked him more. I will agree, Upheaval. Upheaval is what I gravitated towards too, which felt very, very, very yeety, just like a slow, earthy, just boom, throwing out big hits.
Yeah, and then I had like a legendary, which every time that I would do Upheaval, well, not every time. I know there was like a percentage or something. One of the ancients would show up and do Upheaval from the opposite direction. Ooh. So it was really fun. It's like boom, and then another Upheaval, boom.
Just getting sandwiched. I didn't have that. I had something though where it was like, I think it was with my spender, and it was like each spender increases the damage of your next spender up to, or your generator increases the damage of your spender up to like 200% or something. So I'd be like Fury, like bang, 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 and then do an Upheaval, and it would like nearly one-shot stuff.
Yeah, that's the modifier that I was talking about for Upheaval, where every hit that you do that is not Upheaval
that might be
increases the damage. Yeah.
Yeah, so that felt good, and it did. Barb felt rough until once I started getting a little bit later into the trees. I noticed you had crazy mobility with it. Like I was like, charge, shoulder tackle, Upheaval, shoulder tackle, Upheaval, charge. Dude, like I was just going. It was like I was a ping pong ball.
Did you try the kick?
Yeah.
The kick must have been one of the most satisfying skills in that beta. Boom. You just like kick an enemy and it just feels really good. I don't know what they did with that, but it just felt nice. Even though you couldn't really use it on bosses very much, but yeah, the kick was super solid.
It didn't do much there. So I don't know. I felt mixed on Barb. Thing is, I always end up playing Barbs in Diablo. Like at some point, I know I'm going to play it. I just don't know if I want to start with it.
You just said you always end up playing Necro.
Well, I always end up playing all the classes. Druid, I'd say was the weakest of the bunch. I think Druid was not very strong. I did. So I had a lightning build going. That was pretty cool. Once I figured it out, it was like because of the lightning, how it's like each time you cast, it would increase your bolts. So you would go like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it was like a timer of like, I think 3 seconds. And as long as I would recast my lightning within that 3-second window, it would do the full bolts, like the full 7 bolts. And once I had that running, that was actually pretty fun because I was just running through and I'd be like, lightning, lightning, lightning. So it was crazy damage. It was a lot of micro because if I took more than like a 3-second break, I reset back and I lost all of my damage and had to ramp back up.
With Druid, what I ended up doing was I basically just put a ton of legendaries on him. That was it. I had to put more legendaries on him than any other class. But eventually, when I was able to get him online, it was just all about pulverize. So I had the lightning generator where you would hit and it did something with lightning. I forget what it was. But I remember that one was like one of the best ones. So you put the lightning generator and then he transforms into a bear. And then you'd go back into the lightning to generate more. And then I'd put a bunch of points into those passives that whenever you swap, you get more spirit. So I was constantly getting spirit back. And then I would just like smash pulverize with whatever legendary modifiers it had. And that was viable. And it would actually be comparable to the other classes at that point. But it required more investment than literally any other class in the game to reach that point.
I felt like the survivability, just like I was trying so much. I was like, all right, well, let's try with the bear and we'll try reducing enemy damage. Okay. We'll try reducing incoming damage. Okay. We'll try generating the temporary health bonus. And it's like every single thing I tried, it's like, you're still going to probably die. You're still going to probably die. And I'm like, how the fuck does this become survivable? Like my damage was okay. The problem is if stuff looked at me, I just kind of flopped and fell over. Like there was one of the dungeons, I think it was like a ghost mother or some shit.
Den mother.
Killed me like, yeah, probably den mother. I think it killed me like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is whack. Like no other class has struggled like this.
That was me on both Barbarian and Druid. And the strategy that I came up with to beat her on the Barbarian was actually really funny where I just put everything in the bleeds. And so I would smack her and run around. And smack her and run around. And I bled her out.
It was crazy strong. It was just, it was so slow. I feel like there needs to be a legendary where it's like all damage applied by Rend is instantly dealt to the enemy or some shit. I'm sure there is. We just haven't seen it. But
There was a skill that did that, I think, that like all of your blades would get converted into damage or something, but I forget. But yeah, those two were like the ones that were definitely in the roughest state. Sork and Rogue, I don't really care about that much, but I felt like Rogue was crazy powerful, and so were Sork. But I played knives on the Rogue, and I was able to basically just spam the throwing knives generator. And then there was a throwing knife spender as well, where if you hit 2 of the knives on the spender, it would make the enemies become vulnerable. And then I had a bunch of stuff that if the enemies were vulnerable, it also increased the damage. So we would just run around, no legendaries at all, just tearing through everything, throwing knives. And I was like, this Rogue's looking pretty friggin' solid. So yeah.
Rogue was, I thought Rogue was kind of weak. So I was working with that one where you throw the knife and it like stays in them and then it pops out. And it was cool, but it was very positional dependent, which I was like, this is a lot of micro. I like my Diablo to be slightly more mindless, where I'm just exploding stuff. And then I got a first legendary let me put out multiple poison traps while I was concealed. Ooh. So I would basically go into stealth, and then I would be like, bum, 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 and then detonate. And everything on the screen was poisoned and dying. And I was like, oh. This suddenly got like way more attractive as an option, and from that point, I was doing like it felt almost like I was playing like a World of Warcraft rogue, because I would like stealth in, detonate all these traps, do a fat burst of damage on something, and stuff was just dying instantly, and that made me. I was like, man, like I didn't even get to the imbuements with rogue, which everyone said the imbuements were the coolest and the strongest thing.
Oh, yeah. Like, I did the shadow one that made stuff explode. That was disgusting. Yeah. Like, you'd hit one, then it would explode, and then I think there was something that also spread to other ones, then they would explode. It was like, everything would blow up. I saw people do that with bow, because I think it could also imbue arrows or whatever. And they would just like do 2 button presses, and it was just like a big blob of mobs, chain reaction, explode.
Bow rogue it felt good, but it felt very just like sit and click. Like I didn't feel like it was dynamic at all. But I will say from a PvP perspective, I think rogue's going to be the most disgusting class.
Probably because he has a lot of CC. Yeah.
Yeah, stealth and lockdowns always so. Part of me is I think for this beta I might go rogue for this beta just to try and get up to imbuements and see how those go. And then sorceress, honestly I like sorceress a lot. Until I played necro, sorceress was pretty much my pick for launch, because I really like how with sorceress we have the skills that you put into a passive slot to gain a bonus effect of. I like that as I guess an auxiliary bonus. I don't know what we should call it there, but
unique class abilities. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Unique class ability. Yeah, like the barbs is very like and the necro, it's like, oh yeah, cool, I get to pick my skellies. I know the rogue wasn't implemented, druid wasn't implemented, but like, man, I was doing, what did I do? I think I did fireball, and so it was every time I killed something, there was a chance or the damage that killed it. Like if it had 200 health and I hit it for 1,000, it would die. And then it would explode for an extra 800. Like any overkill damage exploded out. So I did that, and then I'm just running around. It's like everything is just popping off, like borderline corpse explosion levels of busted. Because I was doing like super chunky fireball build, and I was like, this is really fun for a sorceress. So I was leaning towards that a lot.
And the thing about the sorceress that I think is really cool is that you would just like swap that ability out, because you were using fireball. You could use any other ability and you would have like a completely different play style available to you, which I thought was really cool. The one I tried going for was firewall, because I had good memories of playing firewall Sork back in like D2. And so I was like, yeah, sure, let's try the firewall. It wasn't particularly good, but it was still a lot of fun. Like you would just fill up the whole screen with firewalls, because she just has so much resource generation that it doesn't even matter. So it's just like
Blizzard was really good. Out of all like the big spenders, I feel like Blizzard was probably the strongest.
I didn't try too much with sorcerers, because again, I usually don't tend to play those classes. I don't like slinging spells all that much. So I mostly focused on Necro, Barb, Druid. Those were like the 3 ones that I did the most.
Things that you can get in the thick of things with.
I mean, you don't really tend to do that much with Necro. Necro is just like more about nostalgia because he's the first character I ever played in D2. So yeah, I jumped into Necro and I'm like, I want to have a big army of dudes. And I made a big army of dudes. And I was like, I love this. This is awesome. Although apparently they were too powerful because they got nerfed like you talked about, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, it was mostly just making you, they want you to use corpses more instead of having this like indomitable army of minions that never goes down.
The biggest problem with them wanting you to use corpses more is that my build literally, I think I had every single thing that could generate additional corpses, and you'd get the bosses and you still wouldn't have additional corpses. Like I had the skeletons that generated more corpses. I had the generator that generated more corpses. I had everything. Everything that was in the tree that said gives more corpses, I had it. And during boss fights, I still feel like I don't have enough corpses to work with.
I think you were just using corpse explosion too much, and that was the problem. Actually, maybe I was.
No, wait. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I would not use corpse explosion at all. What are you talking about? Never used it. Now, if things blew up because I went into blood mist, look, that's not me using corpse explosion. Technically speaking, I wasn't using corpse explosion. Things were just blowing up.
Oh, man. I don't know. My only thing with Necro, so I tried out pretty much all the Necro builds. I do think the Necro had some of the best build diversity because you had your Scythe build, you had your like minion decay build, I guess we would call it. You had the bone build, and then you had the blood build, and very distinct playstyles with each. And I usually gravitate towards minion builds, but the minion build felt lacking compared to the other ones. Like blood exploded shit, bone exploded shit. The scythe you had to get in there, but that exploded shit. And then I think the thing with minions, so you know in Diablo 3 how you could re-tap command skeletons and it would force them to focus on a target.
I haven't played Diablo 3 in ages, so no, I don't remember that. But I believe
Diablo. So if you're running skellies in Diablo 3, it's called like command skeleton, if I remember right. And there's like, let's say you're fighting an elite, and there's a couple other shitters on the screen. You could, if you're targeting the elite and you press the button, all the skeletons rush and they converge in on the elite, and they're all going to focus that elite until it's dead. And we don't have that here. So like there were a lot of fights where, you know, like you're fighting the boss and there's like one or two crap mobs on the side.
Yeah, and the skellies and I'm like, go after them.
Yeah, my skellies are wandering off. And I'm like, yo, hey, everybody, come on, the boss, get on the boss. And they're just like, and that's my thing. I love minion necros. And I felt like the minions were just they would just wander. And I'm like, y'all need to stay with me and attack the boss. Because you had that thing where it's like, you know, the whole, basically a death and decay build where it was like damage over time and then amplified damage as the minions were hitting. And that was the build I wanted to do, but they were just kind of, oh, God, sorry, I'm still reeling.
Yeah. But, yeah, it would be cool to have a little bit more control over them, but you just actually reminded me of something. You were playing with controller as well, right?
Oh, God, it's so good.
It is.
Good. It's like so good.
There are so many people that are like, how can you play Diablo on controller? And I'm like, bro, because ever since I played Diablo 3,
it's made for it now.
Ever since I played Diablo 3 on console, I'm like, I never want to play with mouse and keyboard again. It's that. The
only thing I used mouse and keyboard a lot for respecking, just because I could right click, point, left click. Besides that, like especially now that the new office is done and it's next to the bedroom. So my sleeping situation, since we have like the master is on the main floor and then the kids' bedrooms are on the second floor. Well, my wife wants to be near the kids, so I basically have the master to myself, and then she has like a second master downstairs with the kid bedrooms to. She's like, I can't leave them a floor away. They need to be close. I'm like, all right, well, you can come back upstairs when they're like 5 or 6, whatever. I'll take the whole king bed myself. So my office was built on near the bedroom, and you know, right now the door's closed, so it's like soundproof and all that. But I have like a 40-foot HDMI, and what I was doing during Diablo is I have it plugged into the computer, and I ran it on out to the TV in the bedroom, which is like a 65-inch, I think, and then I just ran Diablo, mirrored the screen, and I would just lay in bed
Damn.
like just playing Diablo like a complete degenerate.
Absolute degeneracy. All you need is like a bag of Cheetos on the side and like some Mountain Dew or something on the other. You're like, oh, covered in Cheeto dust.
And what's great too is, you know, it wasn't like playing console Diablo. We're talking like full blown PC Diablo running on a 4090, so we're getting all the frames, everything's beautiful, it's running well. I'm like, oh yeah, this is life.
Look at Mr. Elitist over here. I was playing on PS5, the game ran fine, dude.
I heard
no
the UI
problems.
was goofy on console though. They forced you to do the corner UI, you couldn't do the middle one?
They forced you to do the corner UI. I didn't even know that you could swap. I saw on your stream that you at one point you swapped between the corner UI and the middle one, and I was like, wait, you can do that? And I went on the console, it's like, no, it turns out no, only the PC users. All right.
Yeah. I don't know. I've played Diablo. Like, I didn't dislike the corner, but Diablo has always been Sentry UI to me, and so the idea of them forcing the corner, I'm like,
It didn't bother me at all, but I would assume that they'll give you the option, considering that was an option on PC. They'll probably give you the option on console as well.
Because I mean, I keep the Xbox is my bedtime console. Typically, I have it sitting in there because any Xbox exclusive I'm going to play on PC anyway.
Yeah.
But that way I wouldn't have to have a HDMI running under the door. But I'm excited. I plan on streaming it a bunch this weekend.
Because
it got me. I enjoyed it so much I reinstalled HOTS to get.
Oh, that's why you reinstalled Heroes of the Storm. Damn. It's not HOTS, it's Heroes. Because when you say HOTS, a lot of people would confuse it with Heart of the Swarm back in the day. Which is the second.
No one would confuse it with Heart of the Swarm.
There were a lot of people that like. Listen, I used to do content for a channel that was exclusively Heroes of the Storm. Actually, this might have even been like Blizzard messaging where they wanted us to be like, no, you need to call it Heroes, don't call it HOTS. It might have been Blizzard that actually said that.
Oh, Blizzard is wrong. It's called HOTS. The community calls it HOTS. It's I don't know, I've been having fun with it, but it's a shame
that they killed that game.
They killed it, yeah. It
because like that game to me was like the best MOBA, and I find it interesting.
I had so much fun with it.
Yeah, I find it interesting that a lot of people back in the day would be like, "Oh, I don't like it because I can't carry," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry if your team-based game requires team play. I'm sorry that you can't like solo the enemy team. You can't snowball into oblivion, and that you need to focus on team fights."
The funny thing, most of the time, I'd say like 90% of the people that say that, like, your ass isn't fucking carrying anyway. You were probably going fucking 4 and 5 and losing. I don't know, I had a lot of fun playing HOTS. I just love the diversity of the map, the heroes, not needing to worry about like, oh, do I need to go this build or this? Like you didn't have to worry about items. It was more approachable than a lot of other MOBAs, which was important to me.
Heroes of the Storm was really cool, and it really sucks that Blizzard just like murdered the esports scene of that game overnight, especially because back then, like I told you, I was doing a channel dedicated to this game, and overnight Blizzard just like brings down the axe. It's like, yep, no more professional scene, everybody, and people are like, whoa, it was like a grenade exploded. There were people that were making life-changing decisions.
You had people that had like just signed on to do like collegiate level, and Blizzard's like, it's done.
Yeah,
wait, what do you mean it's done?
We knew a lot of those people. Like we were talking to a lot of those people who had a career around Heroes of the Storm, and Blizzard's like, gone. It's like, wow.
It was. I think a big thing was the HOTS 2.0 change. That like,
I didn't like it at all.
No, they were like, let's make it like Overwatch, and all the HOTS people were like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Which I think that just further pushed it into the grave sooner. I think it would have been fine with the model it had.
Yeah, I like the model it had because it was like, oh, you can either get whatever the gold coins or whatever, grind those out over long. It was basically like League, where you could grind the currency over a long period of time and then buy stuff, or you could just buy it outright with money. It's a free to play game. It's whatever.
Oh yeah, I bought tons and tons of skins and HOTS, and then
I bought a bunch of stuff as well.
Yeah, once they changed the model to like it's loot boxes and here's a bunch of shit
never
you don't
touched it
care
again.
about.
Never
Yeah,
touched it again after
yeah,
that.
I don't care about sprays and taglines. Just no, I don't care.
Like I even bought stuff for characters that I didn't play that often because I was like, that is a cool ass skin. I'ma get it. It's whatever.
I remember my favorite was the clown Gazlo. Had big punching bag gloves and the clown outfit and the top hat. That one was creepy. I liked that one a lot. I liked.
I remember one for Leoric that I really liked. I think it was like some high tech King Leoric skin that he had like
space
bike.
Leoric.
I don't remember which one it was, but he had like a bike.
Yeah,
and I was like, this
Space
is
Lord,
badass.
Space Lord Leoric, Space Lord Leoric.
That was really cool.
That one. What else? There were a couple.
I got a bunch of Murthan ones because I would always be playing Murthan. It was Murthan and Falstad.
There was a Vala cowgirl one. I had that. Little Vala. She had twin pistols and like chaps and shit. That one was fun. The Gazla one I did a lot. Nova, I liked Nova's Ghost one. That one was really cool. I like that. Illidan had a couple that were neat. Anyway, yeah, I've been dicking around on that lately, but I think it's just me waiting for Diablo more than anything.
Probably.
And it's gonna be a busy couple months though. I mean, we got Tears coming up, then Diablo, then Final Fantasy, and then Armored Core actually has an announcement date now. So it's all creeping up fast.
It's coming up fast, and you just talked about one of the games that I want to talk about a little bit, which is Final Fantasy 16. You just went to an event and stuff. Naturally, stuff is probably still going to be under embargo, but what was the event like? You got to meet Yoshi P?
Yeah. So
dude, I'm jealous. I'm so jealous. God damn it.
We're hanging out. I made a joke that I'm slowly collecting pictures with prominent Japanese game developers because I have one with Miyazaki and I have one with Yoshi P.
Dude, listen, I have one of the most reposted pictures of Miyazaki. Okay. It's me and a friend of mine, and Miyazaki's praising the sun. This was for this is for Dark Souls 3 because I got to interview Miyazaki. It's like, listen, there are 3 game developers that I really want to interview, and I've gotten to interview one of them twice, which was Miyazaki. I want to interview Ryozu from Monster Hunter, and I want to interview Yoshi P. But yeah, that's going to be hard right about now. But I'm assuming you got to interview him. That must have been nice.
No, I talked to him a little bit, but they had the interview scheduled out like weeks, months, and a lot of that was like your more traditional press. I don't really, it's not my thing. I know. Mr. Happy got an interview with him. He had like, I think he'd asked Jay like months in advance, like, I want to interview. Like, please give me a slot. And then I only found out, I was like, oh, there's interviews? Is there any slots off? And Jay's like, no, those have been long gone. I was like, all right, it's cool. But I talked to him a bit and talked to the voice actors. The voice actors were super chill. It was really cool meeting all of them. Especially because like, I hadn't, before this event, I hadn't consumed any content. Outside of the initial reveal, I have not watched any videos. I have watched any. I've watched nothing. So like we're like talking to the voice actors, and I'm like, "Oh, you play? Okay. Oh, yeah." Like I didn't even know who they played. Like just like they're giving me these character names, and I'm like, uh huh. And then like after talking to them, the next day we went hands on with the game, and I'm like finally seeing all these characters in the game, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I'm like, oh, good job. Oh, you did a really good job. I think the craziest thing. So I was going in. There were a couple different sections of the game. I was like, well,
isn't that under embargo? Can you actually talk about that?
I'm not providing any details. I can talk about. I mean, obviously, I played parts of the game, but I played a couple different sections. And initially, I was like, oh, I'm not going to play too much. I want to save it for my Let's Play. I want my first experience. And then that quickly went way the fuck out the window, and I played like 4 hours of content. I was like, save for the Let's. I just kept going, and then I like at the afterwards, I was talking to the other people that were there. Like there was like Blaze, Midna, Mr. Happy, Curious Joy, They're like, so did you save anything for your Let's Play? I'm like, nope. Played all of it. Played all of it. We're actually, as we're like wrapping up the event, I see somebody doing a fight and I'm like, wait a minute. Where's that? How do you get to that fight? And they're like, oh, after the section you were doing, you had to ask somebody and they would have swapped to the menu. And I'm like, wait a minute, no. And I like ran back to the computer.
Go back and start doing it again.
And they had like already reset it. I was like, damn it, I missed that fight. I wanted to do that fight. So it's when the embargo finally goes down, people are there's gonna be a lot of content to consume and a lot of news coming out.
I'm not consuming any of it. I'm steering well clear of everything. I want to go in as fresh as possible. I haven't even looked at the most recent trailers. I'm like, no, I'm good. Yeah. Listen, and Yoshi P I trust is like, I played Final Fantasy 14. It was amazing. It is my favorite Final Fantasy. It is the best story I've ever experienced in any form of medium. And that is what I expect from 16. I believe 16 is probably going to be the best Final Fantasy ever. Maybe. I mean,
it's basically going to be like mature rated Shadowbringers.
Hells yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's obviously gonna be good. Just based on the fact that they're going for like a mature rating, it makes me feel of like the first time you step up from like kid shows to like adult shows, you're like, oh, there's like murder and sex and cursing and ooh, this is adult now. Hey, late hour. like finally seeing a Final Fantasy that's made for the audience that grew up playing these games instead of like, which I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with like 15. I wouldn't say it's like a child's game, but it's still very like just four bros on the road when I have my top ramen, my favorite. Like,
I liked 15. I thought 15 was all right. I know that a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked 15.
Hated 15. I played it before. My problem with 15 was you got up to the Leviathan encounter, and then the game, it was like a roller coaster, but instead of it like taking off, like a wheel popped off and then it just bumpy tumbled down, and like the guy in front of you puked and it was hitting you. You're like, what? I want to get off this ride. Like, you had the whole thing where the one dude gets blinded. Well, so all right, now first you had that weird train sequence. I remember being stuck on a fucking train for like 45 minutes. I remember I was streaming and like
being that long, but
dude, maybe. I like talk to people. I like talked to every person on the train, and I'm like, why can't I get off this train? Who do I have to talk to? And like kept like trying to re-exhaust dialogues, and it wasn't letting me off the train. And someone's like, oh well, it just takes some time. I'm like, we've been in this train sequence for like 20 minutes. Like, fuck it. Like, I dropped the controller, went, got a drink, came back, re-talked to people, still stuck on the train. I was getting pissed. I was like, I want off this fucking train. And then you get off the train, and the one dude's like, don't go too far. How he's blinded. What do you think we're gonna be able to do? And I'm like, leave him on the fucking train. Oh, he's blinded. Well, bring him into combat. He can sniff his way to the enemy. No, leave him on the train. Nothing against blind people, but we're out here fighting like fucking behemoth and shit. His ass stumbling around on the battlefield. Like, bro, leave him behind.
But see, that's the thing. That was supposed to be an emotional moment because, you know, your character is the reason why he's blind.
It wasn't an emotional moment. No,
I thought it was.
He fucked up. I did not fuck up. He fucked up.
Yeah, sure.
He fucked up and he got himself blind. And then Noctis is made to feel responsible. It's bullshit. Dude should have been, leave him at the fucking nursery or the infirmary or whatever. And then, so anyway, you get past the bullshit train, you get past the bullshit blind sequence. And then we have that, what was it? We got stuck or captured or something, and we lose all our shit, and it turns into like Metal Gear Solid all of a sudden. And I'm like,
that was the bad chapter. That sucked. That chapter, I agree, it sucked. And supposedly I've heard that they fixed it since. I've never played the game again.
I've never gone back. Yeah.
They've supposedly fixed that chapter and it's different now. But what I remember was when I got I was so tired of that sequence that when I got close to the end, I basically just went like, oh, there's a massive group of enemies ahead, but I can see the exit. Well, I'm going to go trigger a cutscene. There was like a bunch of dudes running after me like, I don't care. I'm triggering this cutscene and I'm leaving this cursed chapter and I'm never coming back.
What sucked is for me at least 15 up until you like go and do the Leviathan encounter and it does like a 180 on the story. I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the pacing. I enjoyed like the exploration, and then you got to that And like I said, it was just like shitty train, shitty blind part, shitty weaponless dungeon part, and I'm like, this sucks. This is like, it completely ruined the game for me. Anyway, but so yeah, 16 hopefully doesn't have any bullshit like that.
But let's talk about one game that we can actually talk about. I've seen that you've been playing it as well. I've finished it by now. Jedi Survivor.
Wow. Honestly, technical issues aside, I think it has Game of the Year potential.
See, that's exactly what I said. I mean, I didn't say Game of the Year. I think that it has the potential to be one of the top picks for a lot of people. I don't think it's going to be my top pick of the year because we got Tears of the Kingdom and Final Fantasy 16 and Armored Core 6. So it's like I already have 3 games that are going to have Game of the Year potential, and Jedi Survivor is most likely
Tears
not
of the Kingdom. I for me, it's going to probably be 16 or Armored Core. But I'm really enjoying myself with Jedi Survivor. Like looking through playlists on my channel, the last time I enjoyed something as much like story. So I had a lot of fun with Wild Hearts. But I think I'm enjoying Jedi Survivor more than I enjoyed Wo Long even. It's a really, I don't know. Just I don't consume Star Wars media a lot, if ever. But I'm just really having a good time in Jedi Survivor. I got my cross guard, clapping cheeks.
One of the things that I've mentioned, because I did like a full-on review for this, like long after the game came out, because I didn't really get early access. But I wanted to do a review because I just really like Star Wars. Like Star Wars is the main reason why I speak English as fluently as I do, because I watched Star Wars when I was a kid, like over 200 times, memorized the lines and connected them to the subtitles so that I would know, okay, so this word means that, this word means... That's how I learned English as a very young child, okay? So Star Wars has always been super special for me, and what they've done with the sequel trilogy is disgusting. It is terrible.
I haven't seen any of them. I just like the games.
You're better off not seeing the sequel trilogy, to be honest. Like, it's a completely... Like, listen... Here's what I said in my review about the sequel trilogy, just to give you an idea. It's like the Village Speeder. Everybody got a turn, and everybody returned it more mangled than it was before. And right now, that speeder doesn't even hover anymore. It's getting pulled around by 2 banthas with an unrelenting bowel disorder. Okay? That's what I said.
Seems very adamant about how you feel.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like the team that does Jedi Survivor, on the other hand, I can tell that they're passionate about the Star Wars franchise. And I know that the game has a lot of problems, and that's one of the things that I talked about. And I think it's a serious problem, and especially with EA, because this is the second time they've done this year. Because you have Wild Hearts that came out, and the performance was atrocious. It even
I don't know if Wild Hearts. So I think Jedi Survivor can fall on EA because that's a Respawn, which is an EA studio. Yeah. Wild Hearts was an EA original, which they basically, for the EA originals, my understanding is they essentially market and push it out, and that's it. That's a Koei Tecmo thing, which we kind of had a lot of repeat with that with Wo Long. Wo Long was not.
Yeah, exactly. I heard that on PC it was also not working all that well.
Yeah, it was not the smoothest launch. Not as bad as Wild Hearts, but I'll tell you what, it has been the year of wonky fucking launches.
Yeah, because we also had Redfall. You played that. How did that work out on your Giga rig?
It actually worked out pretty well. I didn't have any issues.
Okay, because a lot of people are having problems with Redfall as well. Like it's not working out properly.
It's a completely. I don't think it deserves all the hate it's getting. It's a very mediocre game. Like it exists.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like I think it's the same as like when Forspoken came out. Like I don't understand hate trains against anything. Like if something comes out and I don't like it, I just don't engage with it. Or with something like Redfall, like I did it once. I had a sponsor stream for it, and I'm like, well, I'll check it out at least once. Did my sponsor stream, checked it out. Probably won't go back just because there's other games I'd rather play with the boys. But I mean, I was playing it co-op with 2 friends, and we were doing goofy shit, running around and having fun. And I was playing the beacon dudes. Like I threw my beacon out, my buddy was stuck, And I was like, I got you, buddy. I'll rescue you. And I chucked the beacon, and my beacon gets stuck on top of the fence, and he's like looking at it, and he's like, really? And I'm like, and then so I teleport, so I'm on top of the fence just looking down at him, and I'm like, I'm here for you. Like, so like there was goofy shit like that. Like there were good laughs that we had.
Yeah.
But you know, where there's just, I don't know.
On the Forspoken thing, I also think that it got way more hate than it deserved. Like, I don't think it was a particularly inspired game, but the way that people decided to just completely trash on it, I was like, listen, people were mad in my live stream, and it's like the game was running fine. It was, there was stuff that the visuals looked nice, and people were like, oh, it looks like a PlayStation 2 game. And I'm like, what are you talking? What are we talking about? This is wild.
I can't.
So
I don't get it, man.
The Forspoken thing, I also didn't get. But like with Jedi Survivor, the issue I feel was because not even people with giga rigs like yours, like those people didn't get away from dealing with performance issues. How's it been running on your end?
Good. Once I turned off ray tracing, it was going good. I hit Jedi, and it was just like crash. Like we're talking game boots, game crashes. And then someone mentioned it's something with how ray tracing functions in the hub there. So I killed that, and it's been smooth sailing ever since.
So you can get like 60 FPS on it?
Probably. I mean, I'm running on like the most expensive hardware right now. So like, I haven't had. I mean, Wild Hearts works great on my end. I got 60 FPS on Wild Hearts. I got it on Wobong. I haven't had anything I'm not pushing that on. I'd have to like boot it up and actually test, but I'd assume I'm at 60. Yeah.
It would have been nice to have an option to turn off ray tracing on console, because guess what? We couldn't.
Oh.
They put ray tracing straight into our veins, and they were like, "Yep, you're gonna take this." And I'm like, "But I want to play in performance mode." Yep, with ray tracing. Yeah. You get your performance mode with a side of ray tracing. Enjoy it.
I usually turn off like ray tracing and DLSS only because the like CUDA cores or something that does that is the same stuff that OBS is using to record. So usually most of the time, if I kill off DLSS and ray tracing and just try to push for like a native 4K, I'm usually seeing better performance because OBS is like, yo, what are you taking my resources?
Yeah.
But I mean, aside from the tech stuff, I'm having a lot of fun with Jedi.
Yeah, I think like I was saying, I think that in terms of story, it's really good. I don't know how far along you are in the story, but I can tell you that
I did the Trident the other day, the big mega drill, where you go through the sequence with Marin.
Dude, that set piece is so good.
It's so wild. I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Yep, that was awesome. Like 100%.
Is that how far is that? Am I like halfway through the game? Am I more than halfway through the game?
I think you're a little bit more than halfway. Yeah, you're a little bit more.
One of my friends was like, that game never ends. It drags on and on and on. And I was like,
I finished it in like 30 hours, I think. And
I feel like the pacing is pretty good.
Yeah, and I still like did quite a few side things. I didn't do everything, but I went back and I did some side stuff. I think that
I want to stream it, but I'm trying to get the only thing I need to get is those balloons that I see floating. I want to get the traversal for the balloons, and then I'm going to stream it because I want to have all my traversal options before I do like a free run stream.
That is like right before the final stretch of the game, if I remember correctly. Yeah, get that thing right before the final stretch of the game.
Yeah, I'll probably do it because that way I'm at the end anyway.
Yeah,
there's a lot. It's just I want a free roam, but that's what I can't figure out what I want to do with Zelda, because I think Zelda is obviously a better stream game than episodic. The nature, but I have nothing else on deck for episodes because Jedi will probably last at least another week, maybe 2. But Final Fantasy isn't until the end of June, so I'm like, what do I do episodes of? I mean, there's Elden Ring Convergence. I could always dip into the old Elden Ring bucket. People love that one, which I plan on playing that, but like I really want to give it more time because I think the Convergence for Dark Souls 3 was probably the most fun I had playing a Dark Souls mod, and so I'm very excited to see what they do with Elden Ring. And knowing they're like only in alpha still, I'm like, I want to play you. It's like seeing a pie that's cooking, and I'm like, I could dip a finger in and get a taste, but I think I want to let you cook a little bit more. I don't want to ruin it yet. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll probably end up streaming Zelda just because that game is so fucking aimless. Link, go find things.
Dude, why you gotta
Wanda.
Why you gotta be so negative towards Zelda, dude? I freaking love Zelda. I've actually been replaying Breath of the Wild because I played it on normal mode and then eventually I started playing on master mode, but I never finished the game to master mode. So I've been going back. Jeez, do you ever play it in master mode?
No intention.
Dude, master
I don't
mode.
listen. I have found that the older I get, the more I absolutely hate difficulty settings in a game. And the thing is, I love like Souls and Sekiro and all that. I love the difficulty of those games because they're challenging, but the difficulty it's fine-tuned. And it's fine-tuned in a way that none of the challenges seem insurmountable, which is what I love. But then I play, like, for example, God of War Ragnarok. I played through all of it on Give Me God of War. And like,
Jesus.
I had fun. But some of those fights were so fucking frustrating.
Yes.
Because you would get chunked with like half your health. And like in retrospect, like I don't hate that I did it. But if like current me could go back and tell past me, I would be like,
play it on the one below.
Yeah, play it on Show Me No Mercy. It's not going to be worth it.
I completely agree. Like I did the same thing. I played Ragnarok and Give Me God of War. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that just go, "Oh, I freaking love it. It's so good. It's like Giga Hardcore, bro." And it's like, bro, listen, I don't think it's that great. I did the final boss, and the final boss was not the final boss, whichever one I don't know, the hardest thing in the whole game. I don't remember what it was. It was one of the Valkyrie things or whatever. And I did that.
Queen, or no, I know who you're talking about. I know.
I did
Gia?
that. Yeah, I did that in Give Me God of War, and I did it on an even harder difficulty setting because I did it through remote play because my PS5 was at the office and I was playing from home. So I did that, and when I was done, I was like, this wasn't fun, pretty much in any way. This just felt like it was cheese land because it had a lot of situations where, you know, she'd grab you out of nowhere or something, and the grab would one-shot you. You'd be doing like the whole fight and be like 1 millimeter away from getting her, and she'd grab you and kill you. And it just, I completely agree with that. And that is one of the things that, again, I mentioned in my Jedi Survivor review as well, which is most games that do more than like 3 difficulty settings, they usually mess it up. Like 90% of games that do that, they end up messing it up. Like, I'm sure you're serving some niche player out there that is like giga into this type of stuff. The problem is that you end up making the other difficulties unbalanced as well. You end up creating this big problem for yourself where, I have to balance around all of these difficulties, and you don't really do proper balancing on any of them. So normal feels too easy. The other difficulty afterwards probably feels too easy as well. And then a final difficulty feels terrible. And it's like,
I mean, my rule of thumb, which we don't usually see, is I think higher difficulties should have more enemies, advanced movesets, and then I guess this kind of falls into advanced movesets, but improved AI.
Yes.
Like on normal, you know, you might be able to back away from the enemy and get a heal. On hard, it's going to attempt to punish you. So you need to back away, wait for the punish, and then heal. Like learning stuff like that, I think that's a good way for a higher difficulty to be implemented. But too many games, and I think probably the most egregious is Assassin's Creed. They just go, enemy hits harder and it has more health.
And you take more damage.
Yeah, and it's such a shitty way to introduce difficulty.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's like the way that they did difficulty in Jedi Survivor that we were talking about earlier. You're playing in Jedi Master as well, right?
I am one below the hardest difficulty.
Yeah, that's Jedi Master. The hardest one is Jedi Grandmaster. And
when I saw the parry window went to like this, and I was instantly like, no, I don't want to do that. That doesn't.
Yeah.
Jedi Master has been fun. It's been perfect. I've been challenged a couple times. For the most part, I'm able to overcome everything. Well, except for Ogdo, the spawn of Ogdo. See, I cheesed the fuck out of that thing, dude.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You're meant to cheese it. No, I didn't cheese it. I killed it normally, but I didn't feel like, oh man, I totally won that fight. It's like, no, it was more like, oh, this time you didn't do some random bullshit that dicked me over. That was it. Because there were times in Ogdo where I would literally dodge the same attack in the same direction, the same exact way as before, at the same exact, like literally the same frame. I know this because I recorded it on video and I saw it. Okay, so it's like
you went back to the frame analysis.
Yeah, I did that, and in some occasions he would still get me, and in other occasions he didn't. I'm like, it's random. It's just random.
Yeah,
it's completely inconsistent.
I could not. I like went down a couple times and was like, yeah, there's no, like the Rancor I pushed against and then I left, got upgrades, came back. Ogdo, I was getting just slapped, like instantly slapped. Yeah. So then I killed all the stuff, pulled the big boys down, the hammer guys, and was like, I got both of them in the pit with them, and I was like, you're fucked. I've never
even gotten the hammer guys. I don't think
so
I ever went back together. Yeah, I know where they are.
Up top, yeah. So I killed the dudes. And then I yanked the hammer guys and I kind of danced around until they were both over the middle. And then the pit opens. I just go to a corner and they both look at each other and I'm just like, let them fight. And they beat the shit out of them. And like it was perfect because by the end, like one hammer guy was dead. Ogdo was dead. The other hammer guy had like half his health, cleaned his ass up. I didn't get the experience for Ogdo because the hammer guy got the final hit in, but I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to get the skill point thing that's hiding in the back of this room. That's what I really wanted. We're good. Like
no, I killed him by doing like the frame perfect dodges and whatnot.
Oh, dude,
moves.
No. Let me see when that episode. People are gonna bitch. I think that's.
Oh yeah, but it's like I completely like I'm gonna tell anyone, like, if you're gonna complain about this, then you're an idiot because the problem is in the game's combat, and that's like one of the biggest things is like whenever you are fighting bigger creatures, the dodges don't seem reliable, and I don't know why that is. Because like when you're fighting humanoid-sized creatures, everything feels fair, minus the final boss. I didn't like the final boss, but you'll fight.
Well, so a good example is like the frame perfect dodge. Like if you're standing still and you just tap dodge, your guy will go like and he'll like shift, and then you can counterattack. That doesn't seem to work. On like Rancor and shit, did not work.
Yep, exactly.
I would try to do that, and it's just like, no,
Ogdo is the same thing. Like whenever he does his unblockable attacks, especially the one where he like leaps forward and it covers like the whole arena pretty much.
Yeah, it's a really weird.
Dodging that attack is it's just straight up random. It's not weird. It's random. Yeah. It's straight up random.
I had to. The only time I was able to dodge his attack successfully is when I just straight double jumped completely over him. Like literally just avoided his entire frame structure by
I
leaps.
tried doing that. I wasn't able to jump over him. Because people would tell me, oh, you got to jump over him. And I was like, can't do it. He hit me every time that I would try to double jump. So yeah. But people also told me you're supposed to pull his tongue, then chop it up. But apparently,
but that was in the first game.
You need the high level pull, I think, and I didn't have it.
He never even pulled his fucking tongue out against me. I was waiting for that. I was literally waiting. I was like, I remember you from the first game. You're going to try to hit me like the frog. I'm going to hold your tongue. I'm going to slice it off. And instead he would just smash. And I'm like, what the fuck?
That means you never got too far in your attempts, huh? Because it's a health threshold. That's when he starts using his tongue.
Oh no. He would one or two shot me every time I went down there. It was nuts. So I was like, you're a pain in my ass.
That was one of the problems with the game's combat, but like everything else was fine. But yeah, I think that the people who do difficulty best is hands down From Software, because they will make something that the magic of the way that From Software does it is like the first time you go into a boss room, it might even seem unsurmountable. You're like, what? How am I going to deal with all of these things? This is insane. There's no way. Like the first time that somebody does the monkey on Sekiro and then he gets back up and you're like, what? It's like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do this, you know? And it seems insurmountable, but eventually you start getting the pattern down and you eventually succeed and you get it done. A lot of these other games, whenever they try doing multiple difficulties, it just becomes egregious. But I was talking specifically about the Breath of the Wild master mode, and it's interesting because it has a lot of the things that you said, which is better AI. Enemies in master mode are more aggressive. More enemies. There are more enemies. And as a matter of fact, it's really cool because in Breath of the Wild, like you'd see these platforms that are floating in these balloons. And there's enemies on top of the platforms and additional rewards and chests and stuff like that. So they actually did all that. And that part of it is really cool. The problem is that enemies also regenerate health. And that's what kills it, because they inflate the HP and then they regenerate. So like, imagine you'll bring an enemy down to half health and then you have to back off for whatever reason. Yeah. And it just goes back up all the way to full. And you're just like, whoa. There's some checkpoints that I don't quite understand exactly how they worked in Breath of the Wild, but
I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if I will or will not do that. In a lot of ways, I kind of want to, because there are a lot of things that they did in Master. Like I told you, there's more enemies. There's these crazy platforms in the sky that you could get to. There's all these crazy things that they added that I thought were really creative. But then there's also the health regen. I think if they were to take health regen away, Master Mode would be a hell of fun. Like, that's it. But with the health regen, it's like, ugh, I hate it. But
no, I'm probably just gonna go through that bitch on normal, to be honest, because it took me about 2 years to finish Breath of the Wild, because I only played it. Damn. I only played it like when I was traveling. I never wanted to like sit. Well, because so this was back when Nintendo was in there like, we'll slap your pee if you try to stream our game phase. So never made content on it, and as a content creator, like right now, there's another game I'm playing right now that's so stupid. It comes out next week, but they gave us like an early access version, and they're like, you can prep a video if you want, but no streaming, no nothing. And I'm like, well, I ain't playing through 80 hours of this for one fucking video when full launch is next week and I can stream the whole thing. Like, sorry, not sorry, it's not. I'm not. I like telling a content creator, here's this game, you can play it, but you can't make content about it. Like, I'm gonna play shit I can make content about.
Yeah, but getting back to the Tears of the Kingdom thing, I'm personally super hyped, and I might even do episodic, because when I did Breath of the Wild, one of the things that ended up happening, because I streamed it, by the way. I streamed the whole thing. Nothing happened. No ninjas came after me. I streamed it over on Twitch, and then I uploaded everything to YouTube. Nothing. No, wait. Did some of them get claimed? I think some of them did get claimed, actually. Not all of them. But yeah, some of them did get claimed, but then they got released. So whatever.
Yeah.
But essentially,
it's so aimless though. That's the thing, man. Like Elden Ring, I get a vibe. Oh, okay, I'm supposed to probably do this Limgrave area. Oh, it's just lakes of. All right, we don't want to go here yet. Let me finish doing the Limgrave stuff.
You can play Zelda like that,
bro. Zelda is like, dearest Link, there are 4 beasts. Do the beasts. Yeah,
choose one.
Have fun. I will be over here taking a nap. And you're like,
just choose one and go.
All right. Are they just like, and yeah, and then, but then it's like you're going there, you get fucking sidetracked because here's a village and there's probably treasure, and here's another thingy, and here's a shrine, and here's a horse, and here's a cork seed, and dude, there's so much just distractionary shit in Zelda. Then it all, like Elden Ring, at least, like a dungeon, excellent. But the puzzle, like I could make a whole episode going through some of those catacombs and dungeons in Elden Ring. The Zelda things, I'm gonna have a whole fucking episode for one shitty shrine that I struggle with the puzzle on. That ain't gonna work. People want to watch that.
That's
on stream. They might.
It requires editing.
yeah, exactly. It's not
like, I'm not doing that.
I ain't doing that. No, sir. Me and editing aren't friends. I don't like editing.
Yeah, but it's like, I think that Zelda might not be a big contender for you, but for me it definitely is. Like, my brain is already on full Zelda mode. I've been training my you know how you can parry the Guardians with shield and blast the laser back to them? I've been practicing that. Like, I'm working on all of my Zeldas.
You big
dude.
Fucking nerd. Oh
yeah, dude. Listen, I'm getting ready. I'm spending a good chunk of time on that game. I'm telling you right now.
I don't know. I'll probably. The only thing is, there's nothing else. Oh, let me see. Let's look at upcoming release.
Dude, the only thing
now.
Between now and Final Fantasy 16, there's literally one release for me, and that's there's 2 releases. There's Tears of the Kingdom and there's Diablo 4, and that's it. Those are like
all right. Well, you should check out Inkbound. You played Monster Train, right?
No.
Well, anyway, Inkbound is it's coming from the Monster Train devs, new indie game. I've been playing a bunch. It's fucking good. That's May 22nd. It'd be like a good stream game to check out.
I have to play Hollow Knight still though. I haven't finished Hollow Knight. People are probably
Well,
upset
this
with me.
is like a roguelike indie, and you can play it with up to 2 people at once. So it's like a roguelike cooperative. There's Amnesia the Bunker, which if I play that, it'll be a stream thing because it's spooky game. Spooky
Yeah,
games are like
I know
meant
what
for stream.
Amnesia is. I'm not. I didn't like it.
I don't know if I will or not, but we'll see. There's Lord of the Rings Gollum, which I don't even know what to think of that. I feel like we've seen nothing on it.
Nope.
Bro, I have this feeling it's gonna come out and it's just gonna. I don't know why. I have nothing to support this, but I feel like it's about to be a really big flop. Like the game is gonna trip and fall on its face before it even launches. Like 3 out of 10 kind of bad.
Pretty much what I expect from that as well.
Yeah. So I'm not going to put much effort there. There's System Shock, which I've never played the original, so I don't really know.
Oh, look at that! This T-shirt. I even have the T-shirt.
Oh yeah, you do. I've heard people are like you got to play System Shock. It's so dope.
I've never played it. I have no idea.
Did they send you like a press T-shirt, or you just have one?
No, it's because like this was back when I went to like Gamescom and stuff. It was in Good Old Games. They gave me a T-shirt, and I was like, "Oh, it's a cool T-shirt. I like it." So I wear it every now and then. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like sci-fi Doom almost. I don't know.
I think it's kind of like cool. What's the name of the? Isn't it like kind of like BioShock? I think. I don't know.
I don't get a BioShock vibe from what I see of the gameplay. I mean, either way, it looks like it would be a stream thing. And then we go into June. Diablo 4 comes out and dominates all streams. Street Fighter 6 comes out, which I don't know. I mean, I like Street Fighter 6, but I don't know if I'm going to play it on launch.
It's so funny.
It's right on top of Diablo. Like, I can't juggle that in Diablo.
It's so funny to me that all of a sudden you're so on board the Diablo. Like, I remember on one of the podcasts we did earlier, we're like, yeah, I don't know about this Diablo 4 game, man. I don't know about it.
All right, two.
I don't know, man.
there were two big factors that changed my mind. One, the Microsoft acquisition, which right now it hit a road bump. That's going to go through sooner or later. It doesn't matter.
I don't know if it is, man. I don't know.
Microsoft, I honestly, and this is, people are going to say this seems out of touch. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft goes, you reject the deal? Okay. Our games don't come to the UK anymore. Get fucked. Like, I honestly would not be surprised if Microsoft says, get fucked, idiots. Because it's not all of European. It's just UK,
listen,
correct?
Microsoft, it is no, it's just UK. But it's my understanding that they even made like a press release where they kind of like had a bit of a veiled threat against the UK, where they were like, you know that we operate a lot of like your defense infrastructure. So there was some conversation like that, and I was like, whoa.
Like, it's Microsoft, man. They're
gonna throw their weight around. They're gonna throw their weight around a little bit.
The acquisition is gonna happen. And the other thing is, so prior to Diablo 4, let's take a look at Microsoft's track record, right? So we had HOTS, which I loved. They took it out back like a healthy horse and shot it because it lost one race.
You're not talking about Microsoft's record, Blizzard record.
No, Blizzard's records. Yes, sir. Excuse me. We had Diablo Immortal, which was a hot, steamy pile of shit. We had the Warcraft 3 Reforged, which was a hot, steamy pile of shit. Like, it was like they just Overwatch 2, which I've heard is just Overwatch 1 with a color palette swap.
Yes.
Like, they haven't done anything tangible in years. And then Diablo 4 comes out, and I'm like, wow, this is actually like, this feels like old Blizzard. This feels good.
To be fair, the latest World of Warcraft expansion is also very good. They've done a really good job.
I've heard that a lot. I haven't had the time to play it. MMOs with two newborns, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. You don't have to play it, but I did play it. I played it all the way, and I thought that it was really, really, really well done. But yeah.
Aliens Dark Descent, that comes out like right before Final Fantasy, but that's another stream thing. So yeah, honestly, point is that there's not really anything that would be episodic for pretty much like mid-May to mid-June when Final Fantasy starts. So either it's like I do episodes of Zelda, which I don't think is a good episodic game, or I guess I'd have to do Elden Ring Convergence.
I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make that work. Episodes of Zelda. I have to make that work.
Well, my other thing too is I have Jedi Survivor recorded through episodes recorded up through this Saturday, and that's only when I'm getting to the Trident. So, you said halfway. Let's assume I'm halfway. That's another fucking 20 episodes worth. So that would be what? 10, 12. Like I would be doing Jedi almost until the end of May, probably till like the 24th,
like I said,
27th.
it's a little past midway. It's not exactly midway. It's a little past. So if you got 20 episodes, you probably got like 15 left or something like that, depending on how fast.
I need to just like these next few days. I need to just push through it because that's the thing. Like I wouldn't be able to even start the Zelda Let's Play on the 12th. And it's such a long fucking game. Like I'm not concerned about it. It's not like I need to have the Elden Ring walkthrough day one.
That's gonna be my big thing for the next couple of weeks for sure. Because like the thing is, even my brain, I'm just so hyped about it that I couldn't even focus on doing anything else than just like, oh, we got to go back to Breath of the Wild, got to play more of that, figure out some of the systems. I realized one of the reasons I struggled as much in Master Mode is because I never even upgraded my armor, which you can. Like running around with worthless armor. But yeah,
that's gonna be me, but Armored Core. When Armored Core is coming, I'm so excited,
dude.
The trailer looks so good.
Armored Core, like, listen, that's the main topic right here, which we've left to wrap up on. So tell me your thoughts on that trailer, dude. That trailer to me looked so good.
I know.
So unbelievably good that I even said it. I even said, listen, if this trailer doesn't get you to at least consider Armored Core 6, you are out of your mind. There's something wrong with you.
It looks insane seeing the movement and the UMs and whatnot. Like I saw a lot of 3 and a lot of 5 in the trailer. So the hover shooting, the verticality from 3 where you're just jumping straight up. Because like 5, you had to do that fat climb. You're like bounce, 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 bounce. Yep. We had the straight, I'm just going to boost up. So movement is looking good. It looks fluid. The quick turn, that looked dope through just snapping on. Honestly, the only thing I even have to complain about with the trailer is the fact that it like somehow got people that were like, aha, see, it actually is a Souls-like. And I'm like, are we fucking watching the same thing here? Like, what?
You need to understand, the reason people are saying that, I don't think it's because of the trailer. Because I did like a deep dive into a bunch of articles that came out the same day as the trailer. There was an article of an interview on Eurogamer. There was another one on PlayStation Blog. There was one on the official Xbox website, and there was an IGN interview. All of them, I think, had mentions of Sekiro. On Xbox, they straight up said that the title of the article on the Xbox website, let's just say, was extremely clickbaity about the Soul stuff and how Armored Core 6 is going to be related to the Soul stuff. But I think it's the director who has been saying something about the pacing of combat, and he brings up Sekiro whenever he talks about the pacing of combat. But it's just like, what people don't understand is like, yeah, we're talking about the pace of the combat. We're not talking about like going up to the mech and spamming L1 to parry the attack, to break the posture gauge. I think a lot of people are expecting that. Oh, I'm going to go in there with my laser sword and I'm going to parry. It's like, no, dude, I don't think you're doing that.
If anything, they're probably talking. So when I think of Sekiro's combat and the pace of it, it's very much a dance of attack, deflect, defensive maneuver, jumping back and dodging. And I think that's what they're trying to portray, because you're going to be, shooting, blasting, dodging. You see an opening, going in, getting a couple hits with your melee weapon, backing off, shooting, stagger the boss, go in, do big damage. It's going to be very reminiscent of like a fight against Genichiro or something in terms of the pace and the flow. Yeah. But the
gameplay is going to be extremely different. Yeah. There was one thing, I'm not sure if you remember this specific portion of the trailer, where there's like a mech that swoops in on another one and it just like stabs him with the laser lance. Like, you remember that move? That's one of the things that made me consider, could they have like some kind of like visceral attacks? Because they talk specifically about a stagger type mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking that might be something, like you might be able to stagger and then do like maybe a finishing move, but that I don't know, because that's shown in the trailer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So-
the trailer is gameplay, but it's cinematic gameplay, so it's
Yeah,
hard
yeah,
to
yeah.
say.
It's
I mean,
hard
it
to
might
say.
just be a short range lock on because the pile drivers, those look very visceral when they happen. There's just boom, and then
Yeah.
massive damage usually. So we'll see, but yeah, I've had like people going back. That video where I was like, Armored Core 6 will not be. Or was I people? They're like, oh, what are you saying now? And I'm like, Are we watching the same fucking trailer? Because this looks like giant robots flying and shooting lasers and rockets and using laser swords, which is what Armored Core 5 and Silent Line and Last Raven and 3 and 2 and Verdict Day. Like, this has been Armored Core from the start. So it's like people are looking at it and they're going, aha! It's like, yeah, it's Armored Core. Yes, this is what we've been telling you about. This is what the past games are. This is what we've been expecting. And everyone's like, it's Mechiro. And I'm like, oh fuck, God damn, please stop.
Mechiro.
Please stop. I can't with these people, man.
Mechiro.
It's so bad. I'm like, where do these fucking people come from?
When are people just going to realize that in reality it's Mecha Monster Hunter? Like, I've been
You're
the one who
shut the fuck up. I swear to God.
I'm the one who's right. I will be vindicated. Listen, talk to me when you're farming parts for your mech, all right?
Oh God, I hope not.
When you're farming parts for crafting the next set of legs.
Oh, I'm trying to get my new white glint set. I gotta kill him a couple more times to get his headpiece.
Exactly. Gotta
so
grind
terrible.
until you can get the mantle of the enemy, so that you can craft this piece. No, but I really like what they're doing with specifically the legs having more. It seems like they're going for more unique functionality. Like you see the reverse jointed legs doing the kick thing on one of the robots. That seems like it'll be their special thing. And supposedly they'll jump higher. This is something that was mentioned in the articles that I was talking to you about as well. The reverse jointed will allow you to jump higher, which I think was something in the previous games as well.
Yeah, that was in 5. You had so in 5 reverse jointed was more mobility and leaping. Bipedal was basically just more defensive, like it had like shield plating on the legs. And then you had your quad. Your quads were mainly for sniping, because it was about, you could go to like engage in stability mode. And then the big benefit of tanks is you could run heavy weapons that you typically had to stabilize for, like with the sniper to do like an autocannon, you had to lock down. With the tanks, you're just like, I move with these.
Yeah, that sounds friggin' amazing. Like, I saw the tank treads, they did like that charge move. They say that the treads are going to be able to drift, and I'm like, ooh, Tokyo drift, just like swinging around.
Yeah, dude.
But the way that they just charge through that group of enemies and like they start exploding, I'm assuming that's some kind of like kinetic charge that will actually deal damage as you boost through them.
So
that sounds like
you
fun.
had a kick in the last game where you could basically, if I remember, I think it's like you double tapped your boost and you do a short burst forward, and with like certain weapons it was like a flying knee. With certain weapons it was like a chicken kick, like you're rearing your foot up and hitting him. With the tank you just kind of went like,
that's kind of like what you see with the reverse jointed.
This is your tank, you just went boosh and just like shoveled yourself into somebody. I mean, I don't know. I know. We've talked about before that my biggest chunk of experience is 5 and Verdict Day, and I got 3 and Last Raven on Steam Deck, and I've been playing through those. 3 is a lot rougher. We use, like, control wise, it took a minute to get 3 functioning how I wanted. Whereas Last Raven works better because it has like built-in clean remapping and whatnot. So I've been going through that. And even then, I mean, from the little I've played of those games, and given I've only really seen 4 and 4 Answer, I still feel like everything I'm seeing from this footage, I'm like, this looks like an evolution of 5. It looks like an evolution of their most recent games more than the older games. I'm seeing bits and pieces of 3 with like how mobility works, because mobility in general 5 we felt
it was
heavier.
slower. Yeah, it was slower.
And it seems like they're not. It doesn't seem like 4 Answer speeds. Well, I mean, no, some of the cinematic cutscenes seem pretty
The
pretty
director
wild.
actually answered the question. He said that the speed of this game is going to be somewhere between 3 and 5, but
Oh, well,
depending
yeah, there
on
we
your
go.
configuration, you can achieve the speed of 4 if you
Yeah, and that was the
assemble
thing. Like
for it.
there were mechs in 5 where it wasn't quite 4 speeds, but if you went like lightweight high boosters, you got to the point where like you never really touched the ground. You just perpetually hovered and took pop shots and zipped in, did damage, zipped out. So I
I
mean, I don't
think
know. It's looking good to me. It's
I
looking
think
real
that'll
good.
be the way to go, because again, another thing that he has said is that they don't want you just like swapping parts around and it being a numbers game. They specifically say this is not what we want. We want, whenever you swap stuff around, we want you to actually feel like there's a significant difference, whether that is, your legs, which each leg appears to have distinct things, like the jumping thing for reverse jointed, drifting and I'm assuming boosting forward with the treads, and then the hovering with the quads, because you see that in the trailer as well. And then they also talk about the different recoils and all that stuff, but that's stuff that we had already seen in previous games. But I think they're gonna lean into it even heavier and make it more unique, rather than just like, oh, I equipped these and now these numbers go higher and boom, 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 which I think
Yeah.
is the way to go. Each of the builds having like a distinct feel to it, and you swapping and adapting to whatever the situation happens to be, which again is something that they heavily reinforced on all of their talking points, I think is going to be really.
I just hope we can still have multiples, because like I think this is going to be one of the big distinguishing factors in whether people insist on calling it a Souls like. So in Armored Core, you can usually you have builds and you have them saved. So it's like, I'm taking out my tank now, I'm taking out my bipedal. Whereas Souls, you would respec constantly to change. And that's not a thing. Like respecing in Souls for the most part, I think is a big decision for a lot of people. Like, I'm no longer going to be X build, I'm now going to be Y build. You're re-leveling up weapons, changing out your armor, changing out talismans, etc., etc. And I think if it sticks with the kind of the older vibe of Armored Core, where it's like, I have mech 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I mean, I load up fucking 5. I have like 15 different mechs to choose from. Like, oh, this one I built to look like Wing Gundam from the
You mean
Gundam movie.
kind of like another game?
Shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the fuck up. I saw you
mean
smirking,
like...
and I was like, what is he smiling at?
You mean like when you take out your charge blade build, or your light bow gun build, or oh yeah, I'm gonna take out my tank build, or I'm gonna take out my sniper build? It's like, this sounds very familiar.
There is no part farming.
I'm right. I'm right.
We're not farming parts. We're not stripping parts off of big mechs and hunting them for 20 minutes.
I'm joking. People might think that I'm still pushing. It's like, no, I just think that in terms of structure, it's going to be somewhat similar, but that's pretty much where it ends.
No, it's mission. Yeah, it's mission.
Yeah, you go on missions and you do the missions and whatever. I've seen some stuff about the story, which has me like theory crafting like a bunch of crazy stuff. I think that those mining rigs might be like somewhat corrupted by the, what's it called, the coral element or whatever. Our character has a coral cerebral control device implanted on him. Like, stuff is getting really wild when it comes to the story stuff in there as well.
All I know is expect lots of war crimes. The central theme of Armored Core. Oh, we need you to go kill all these miners. What are they doing? They're not letting us move in. How much are you paying? 100,000 credits. Okay.
Could that be like? Is that? I don't know how it's been in past games. Is that usually like a choice that you make and it changes the ending? Because they say that this is also going to have multiple endings.
Yeah, and in the older games, you had a lot of that. You had like you would play through, and then on a second playthrough, you notice new quests that weren't even there the first time around, and certain quests would take you down certain paths. So we're right there. It sounds like we're seeing a return of that, which is also kind of, it's I'm not even gonna say it.
Uh-oh.
Well,
What do you mean you're not gonna say it?
Well, so you know how like in You know how in Souls games we have
You mean Sekiro?
yeah. You know in Sekiro how you got Shura. Yeah, it's going to be similar to that. But I mean, this existed prior in Armored Core games. So, you know,
I find this Discord so funny too.
All these core likes. All these core likes.
Core likes.
Dark Souls 2 was one of my favorite core like games.
Yes.
Really pulled from a lot of mechanics that were introduced in Armored Core.
Oh yeah, the way that the combat worked, the how slow it was after you locked onto something, that was straight out of Armored Core 5.
Yeah.
The character's like walking around in molasses like slowly.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're coming up on a really busy time. With
what's in? Well, I guess July is basically going to be dominated by Final Fantasy since it comes out at the end of the month.
There's a game coming out in July. I forget what it is right now, but there's something coming out in July that I think I also want to check out. But all of a sudden, like I forget what that game was. But yeah, I'm a little bit sad that you're not as hyped for Tears of the Kingdom as I am, dude. Damn.
I mean, it took me so long to get through Breath of the Wild. Like I said, it's not that I don't like need my handheld. I just like Elden Ring, at least, you know, follow the guidance of grace. And then it was very obvious. So from here I go here, or I can go to Caelid. Okay, next I gotta knock this out, and then I got the capital. Whereas Zelda, they're just like, there's like 4 guys you could do. Ganon's over here. You could go fuck with him if you want.
Oh, there you go. That's all the guidance you need.
Yeah, there's like some seeds you can collect. It's like asking a high beach bum in California for directions. He's like, yeah, there's some stuff that way, and there's some stuff there, and maybe you want like a horse. That's like, just find one, man. There's horses out there. And they might run away. Like, I don't know, man. That game it's like I have Zelda PTSD. That's what it sounds like.
It definitely seems like Breath of the Wild was not a good experience for you. I love it.
It was not. It was not.
Oh, we'll see if Tears of the Kingdom can change that. But yeah, I don't remember what's coming out in July. But me, I'm just like, next couple of weeks, Zelda. After that, D4. That's if I'm done with Zelda by the time we get to D4, which I'm not even sure if I'll be able to be done with it by then.
D4 is definitely getting a priority over Zelda for me. It's not even a mild consideration.
Nah, it's like, listen, if I'm still in Zelda land, I'll wait. Because look, the first couple of days, the servers are going. The servers are going to explode the first couple of days, anyways. It's probably going to be miserable. So
all right. This is a big brain thing, but I don't know. I have a theory that the codes they gave us, the content creator codes for Diablo, I think they were on a prioritized server connection.
I doubt it.
I want to say I doubt it, but like when the game was crashing for everybody, it was like disconnects. Everyone's like, I've been in queue all day. I'm like, playing for 12 hours. Like, I would wrap up the stream, leave the game running, pick it back up for an hour after lunch.
Oh,
let it sit. Like, bro, it just never, and I wasn't doing anything malicious. Like, I wasn't like, let me put my rubber band ball on my keyboard and run in place. Like, I would just leave it on, and the game would be like, you've been kicked for inactivity, and I'd be back at the character select screen, and I'd go right back in. Like, I think I had like one disconnect at some point. I was like, I don't know what everyone's upset about. This is all working really well.
From what I hear, in my case, it was probably because of the region and the fact that I was playing on PlayStation. I think that was the big, and it's like I had a disconnect the very first day, which is like 1 hour after 1 hour of gameplay, I DC'd, and I had to wait for like 40 minutes. But after that, I almost never DC'd again. No, I had one more DC that day, and after that, I didn't DC again. So I don't think we're in a priority queue. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past them.
I mean, think about it like, the people that are showing off the game, make sure that they are showing off the best experience, not the disconnects. But like I said, this is my tinfoil hat moment. Anyway,
yeah.
it is almost time for me to eat a delicious sandwich. I haven't even showered today. I'm just so out of it.
Damn.
Well, so here's what happened, bro. It was like, so we've been trying to get him to sleep in his own bed because, you know, the wife is handling the newborn and she doesn't want to manage both kids in one room. So we get him to sleep. I put him down. I'm laying there playing Steam Deck for a little bit. Okay, I'm getting tired. Put down the Steam Deck. It's probably about 12:30. I think I'm asleep for maybe 15 to 30 minutes, and he pops up just screaming, "Mama, mama!" And I'm like, "Hey, buddy." So right now we have like the toddler bed, and then second, like it's like a twin XL in there. It's like a single bed that I can sleep in, and I can get out of the bed to help him. So I hop out, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay, come to daddy." And he's just like, "Mama, mama!" This dude is little fucking scratchy shit. He's pinching me, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Like, I fucking provide for you. I feed you. Why are you attacking me, man? And
there is a jealousy thing, dude. There's a jealousy thing.
So I just go and I just sit at the door, blocking the door, because he'll fucking climb over the gates now. So I'm blocking the door, and he's just screaming. Finally, I'm like, "You want to go rock?" And he's like, "Ah, ah, ah." So I go sit in the chair. My sister's spending a week right now. She wanted to see the newborn, so she's like, "What's wrong, buddy?" So she tries to rock him. That shit doesn't work. Finally, I'm like, "You want to go bed?" Like, you can come upstairs. You can sleep in daddy's bed. And he's like, daddy bed. And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go to daddy's bed." So the second we get out of his room, he turns and he sees my wife's shoe, "Mama!" and runs straight to her. And I'm like, "Bro, I give up." And by the time I finally, so like I said, this started at about 12:45. By the time I was finally upstairs and back in bed, it was 3 a.m.
That sounds like fun.
Dude, it's usually not this bad, but like I completely forgot. I like woke up today and I was just like, "I have a podcast." And I'm like, "What time is it?" I'm like, 9:55. I'm like, so I'm literally just like, it's the corpse cast. Like
Con in the corpse.
Yeah,
Con and Cowboy's corpse.
The only thing I've had is coffee and a poop today. That's it. I took a poop. I had a cup of coffee. I haven't had anything to eat.
Damn. Dude, like people are going to call me a slave driver now. Like, what the hell, bro? It's like,
well, this is why I haven't been on in a while. It's been like near impossible to actually schedule something. Because most of the time I'm like, "I'm free." And you're like, "I'm in bed."
Just like, because we have like 5-hour difference. It's wild sometimes. But yeah,
literally, like I get most of the time when I'm home and I'm free and I'm settled, it's like dinner time in bed for you. So
yeah, pretty much. But we'll see what happens. I'll be very curious to see how you feel after you actually play a little bit of Tears of the Kingdom. Now that we'll be able to like stream it and actually create content for it without having to fear potential content ID matches and that stuff. I'll be curious to see if that changes your mind.
Nintendo already out there striking people for review footage.
Well, I mean, the game leaked. It's like, you know,
yeah, they're just going off on smashing footage. Or who was it? Elena Pierce. She was watching. She was watching SkillUp's review. She complained about it today. Yeah, she was watching SkillUp's review, and Nintendo DMCA'd her stream live and took it down and got her banned.
Wow, she actually got banned. I just briefly scrolled through something that said that happened.
Yeah, her channel got hit. She got suspended for it. She's like, "Wow, this is a thing."
Wow, that is. I mean, the problem is the way that they're probably doing is they're whitelisting channels. The people who got access, they're probably whitelisting them, and everybody who's not whitelisted, boom. Because without an automated system, it's really hard now because people can, I mean, right now, there are ways where you can just like emulate the thing, get a ROM, boom, done.
Yeah.
It's like, so yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. We're going to let you go ahead and get some food. We'll see you guys in the next one. There's going to be links to all things Cowboy in the description of this video. Expect some more Jedi Survivor and eventually Zelda as well as Diablo 4 in his channel. And yeah.
Zelda.
What?
Zelda.
No, you were supposed to say like Link. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.
It wouldn't be so bad if she didn't cuck Link constantly. Like, that's my problem. That's my problem with